another level. I'm on another level. I'm on another level.
Hey, what up, y'all? This is Mike Moss, aka Moss Talks. Listen, we do not just want to create content. We actually want to hear from you. This week right here, this is your chance to let your voice be heard. Everybody watching this, drop in the chat what you want to hear from us this upcoming season, because I promise we got some fire for y'all. And while you're doing that, check out some of the top episodes from this last season.
Here are the top 5 most watched Next Level Living episodes. Number 5, Q&A with Jeremy Anderson.
But I don't think I've ever asked that. So can you break down like how you made your first million, bro? Speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was just you like that right there. You know it's funny. Can I keep it all the way 1,000 with y'all? I felt a little anxiety. I felt a little anxiety when you first put that out there like that, because I'm thinking like, ooh, I start having some folks hit my phone like, hey, bro, let me hold something. I got this business plan opportunity. And I'm gonna have to shut them down because Tracy ain't for none of that.
They can't even reach you no more, Jay. They can't even reach you no more, bro.
Just because you made it don't mean you got it to give. I mean, once you become a millionaire, you got investments going on. So just because you made it don't mean you got it to give. Let's just put that out there. So I'm gonna go back to you. How did it feel? And what did you do to get there?
Yeah, and so I'll say this also, and that's because I gotta address that point, Chris. Just because you made it, one of my homegirls told me this here. She's stupid wealthy too. She was like, she said she just tells people all her money is tied up in investments. I said, ooh, that's good. She was like, I can't help you. It's tied up in investments. But really though, we take care of a lot of people, you know, saying that God has been really good to us. And so so know this, I never even planned on speaking to be wealthy I don't do it for the money. I tell people all the time, I don't speak to eat. I speak to feed, right? And that's figuratively and literally. Like I want to feed some inside your spirit, inside your mind. I want to feed some inside your soul. And for certain people through our nonprofit, we actually do literally feed people. So I don't speak to eat. I speak to feed. I speak to feed. But I will say this, because I have been doing this for 12 years, you know, you get to a point where, you know, you build up a business and a brand. And it's very lucrative. One of my mentors once told me that the most people will pay for information alone is like $2,500. After that, they're buying into the brand, the personality, you know what I'm saying? Like the person that you are in itself, the celebrity. And I'm not a celebrity, nor do I view myself as one. But there are some people that feel like, oh, Crystal, oh, Michael, oh, Jeremy, like because they have such respect for you and because they're big, I wouldn't say fans, but supporters, like then they pay like for that. Like I went to one school, one superintendent, shout out to Dr. Riley. My man was just like, bro, it's been my dream to have you come and speak at my school. Like, bro, you a grown man. I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my 40s, you in your 50s. My man said it's always been my dream to have you. So it always feels weird. But you know, you just get to a point, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, Jay. Ain't no,
it's not. That's admiration. It just feels weird for me to hear. Yeah, it feels weird for me to hear. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Because I don't want nobody to feel like I feel like that was weird. It's weird for me to hear it. It isn't weird because it's people. When I met Dr. Cornell West, like, bro, I was fanned out. Like I had honor, bro. I was ready to roll out a carpet for my man. My man would have been like, Jay, my shoes is untied. Like, bro, let me carry your bags, man of God. And so so it was nothing but love and respect. But I'm still kind of figuring things out, even when it comes to speaking, even though we have our community of hundreds and so almost 1,000 people in our Speakers Academy now. You know, as I look at each year and I look at the money that we're able to generate, it is humbling. You know, we have our biggest months. I'm actually going to be talking about that at our conference this weekend, is how August is a $200,000 month in itself. Right, just from speaking. And so it gets to a point where it's one thing to have the message and the professionalism, but then you got to build that brand up to where you're in demand. And I tell people all the time, you can't make demands if you're not in demand. You know what I'm saying? Right. So my biggest thing for putting in all this work over all these years is building up a demand where people were, you know what I'm saying, were willing to pay, top price for me to speak. And so yeah, it felt good, and now I'm just like, yo, I just have to be a steward over it. What I'm saying? And I have more responsibilities. And, my goal now is to get to a point to where I can add even more value and help other people get to there. So it's not enough for me to say,
Jay,
man, I cleared 7 figures in a year.
Nice.
My goal now is how many people can I help quit their job from speaking? I mean, from
but
working
how,
and speak full time. How
Jay,
many people can I help get 6
Jay, but
figures and 7 figures? Yeah, that's where I'm on now.
Number 4, where do we go from here?
Yep.
Can you speak too from a parent perspective on what that feels like to see that happening? Like what is going
Yeah,
through your mind, because your kids are growing up in this sick world.
man. So this is really why, what I do what I do, Chris. Like I read the word. I know in the last days the world gonna just get worse as God slowly withdraws his spirit from the earth. Like he gonna have to set us with more of it. And so I realized like we in a really ugly, dark world. Though we live a good life and we're blessed, when we look at the holistic, the totality of it, there's a lot of pain, a lot of evil in the world. And I try to safeguard Jewel from a lot of it, but I'm also very like protective. Like, and I have to let her know like this is a sick world we live in. So I don't let her see certain things, but I do let her know like, baby girl, we live in a world where people don't really, there are people that don't care about you. So I let her know like, baby, it's the reason why I tell you to play in the backyard when we're watching you and you can't go in the front yard. I said, baby, there are people that will kidnap little girls. We had the conversation like 2 years ago. She was like, really? I said, baby, yes. And it's people who are really evil and sick. And they will kidnap little girls, baby. So I have to protect you. You my precious daughter. You God's precious daughter. So this is why I don't want you riding your bike in the front yard by yourself, because at any moment. So if she sees a poster with a little girl missing, like, Daddy, this little girl's been missing for 3 weeks. What happened to her? I have to let her know, like, baby girl, this is why I try to keep you safe. Like every single morning when we leave the house, we hold hands in the kitchen. We pray as a family. And I'm pleading the blood of Jesus. I'm like, man, God, keep my kids safe. Protect my children, you know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to see them when they get home, And so as a parent, Chris, it hits a whole nother nerve, because this is like, yo, you want to protect them as much as possible, but you just never really know. But I have a responsibility not to give her a spirit of fear, but to let her know, like, baby girl, everybody don't have your best agenda. Everybody don't want the best for you. And there are some evil people in the world, but it's okay, because Daddy, Mommy, God, we're going to protect you. So we still trying to figure this thing out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
I think it's important, as you came from the father's perspective or a parent's perspective. I think it hurt me from a child's perspective or from a son's perspective. I looked at the victims, and a lot of them were older. Saw a lot of people in their 50s, man. Saw a few people in their 60s. It might have been a couple too in their 40s or whatever, and then somebody I think was 32. But seeing that, man, I can't help but put my parents in that position. You know what I'm saying? Look like people that just have a routine, who are literally like down, just doing the consistent thing that they just do every week around that time.
Right.
For it to be such a consistent age group. You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost is like he went in during a non-popular time of the day and went hunting, like literally went hunting people. Even when you hear about like you mentioned earlier, the apology when he turned his gun on a white man and said, oh, I'm sorry. So he's not crazy, right? He's sick, like you said. Like he's sick. He's mentally messed up, and so like.
Well, Mike, I'm gonna give you a chance to clarify that, because the way it's and I know you don't mean it like this, but the way it sounded when you say he's sick, I don't want somebody to think that you coming into defense for my man. So you mean like he got a sick mind, not like we got to pity
he
him.
has a disgusting mind.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm actually trying to hold him more accountable. I'm saying that he is not lacking understanding of what he's doing. He has a very intentionally sick motivation for people of color. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. I just wanted to give you a chance before somebody jump in the comments. Now, we do want y'all to comment now, but y'all show us love in the comment. I will be jumping to judgment and be coming from my boy Mikey. I had to run up on you, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to give you a chance, because I know you wasn't saying Because there are a lot of people, Chris, and that's why I kept the news off. I am no news club. Because if I hear one more person try to justify, if I hear one more person talk about mental health, if I hear one more person, I'm like, come on, we know where this rhetoric is coming from. This whole replacement theory with Tucker Carlson and Fox News and some of these other folks, you know what I'm saying, on the right. And I'm just like, come on now, like, let's put politics aside. Can y'all just for a moment just realize that some of the people that y'all listen to who you agree with their politics and their policies, but there are some narratives that they're out here pushing, and it's sick.
Yeah.
And God is not in that, and God is not pleased. And so I'll be asking myself, like, yo, where do we go from here?
Number 3, the importance of self-control.
So for me, I think that I'm very aware of my toxic traits. I know that I am built and I am almost constantly preparing for conflict. That's not a positive trait, right? And it's because people have challenged me my entire life, whether it be comedically, like with comedy or jokes, or just being the funny guy, people trying you. It's like I'm always ready for a rebuttal. So sometimes I don't realize that I'm already firing back on something. I haven't even taken it in. I'm just always ready to give that back emotion. So my thing for myself is, number one, accepting the fact that I already have work to do. Regardless of the next person who comes, regardless of the person I find in traffic who's honking or who's disrespecting, like before all of that happens and I feel justified for doing something, I realize that there's something in me that can be triggered easily. So for that, I need to deal with myself first before everything else. I need to be slow to speak, to slow to anger, because number one, I realize that I have something in me that can set me off or set me back. After realizing that, I find accountability. I've said it so many times on this podcast, y'all, but therapy has been the best thing for me since COVID has happened. And I talk to people that I trust, that care about me, and that I appreciate the way that they live in their life. And I ask them for advice. I ask them to be critical of me. I ask for critique to help myself be my best self that I can be. Those are two things: accepting where I am, accepting where I'm toxic, and working on it through allowing the critique of others that I trust. Not everybody, but the people that I know love me.
I love it. Chris?
Yeah. I think for me, I used to keep a lot of stuff just like bottled in. Can I see them, please? I used to keep a lot of stuff just like bottled in. And I remember one time somebody was like, well, you're always so like even temper, but I know something has to affect you. And I'm like, yeah, I think it does bother me, but I just don't know that it's worth it to say anything. And then I realized it started taking a toll on me, because then I was holding things, like, I was internalizing things. So then I started to say, things a lot more. And then it does take an adjustment period, because when you first start speaking your mind, you kind of go from like 0 to like, oh, what is this? And then once you level out, because it's it has no choice but to eventually level out. Once you level out, you're like, okay, I can process this. I can be mad, and I have the right to be upset about it. And I have the right to say something about it. It's just how I communicate my feelings to get the optimal result that I actually want.
Right.
And so I've noticed that if I'm very angry, I'll go and I'll write about it. Like, I'll just get it all out of my head, like get it out of my head, out of my emotions, into like writing that makes it comprehensive for me, so that I don't have to think about it anymore. But if I do want to remember any detail, it's written down, but I need to get it out of me. And so with that being said, it's like I'm able to then take those notes and say, okay, well, what of this is not emotion that I can give to somebody to say, this is where I'm bothered and this is where I see room for improvement. Then that's the most constructive part, because that's where you see change. But if it's just all emotions, people don't hear emotions well. People just respond with emotion, because then they feel attacked and they feel defensive. And they're like, well, I'm defending my point of view. And it's not about, your point of view versus another person's point of view. It's about coming to a place where you guys can kind of operate in some sort of peace and in comprehension of each other. Like, there has to be communication, and it has to be something that you can understand. And so anyway, I think now I'm able to verbalize and put into words how I feel better than I used to be able to. because I used to just be like, nah, I don't want to disrupt the peace or I don't want anybody to think that I'm just complaining. But it's not even a complaint. It's more so, this is what I require to actually like exist in this space without having feelings towards you that I don't like. And so that, it's a very mature path, but once you get there, you feel a lot better because you don't feel like you've been taken advantage of and you feel like you're able to communicate better.
And there were 2 times last year, and I won't mention them, of course, but you shared with me 2 times last year personally, where you had gotten to a point in 2 different relationships where you was like, you know what, that's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes in the work that we do and the relationships we have and people we know and family, like sometimes we do get to a point where it's just like, you know what, this is just too much. And you extended grace and you give more grace and you give more grace. But it's like it comes a time when it's like, you know what? So I like the fact what you're sharing now because you're like, I'm not even on that now. Like I'm now, I'm not going to keep it in. I'm not going to internalize it. I'm going to go ahead and address it and talk it out now and not keep it in. And I feel like that's a real healthy approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to everybody out here in listening world, I think we can really learn a lot. And that's a crazy thing, man, about humans in our perspective is we can literally grow as a community, as a culture, as a people, as humans, as mankind. We can literally grow from this situation with Chris Rock, right? And so let me just kind of share 2 things that I think is beautiful and positive, saying about the situation, right? For one, I think Chris was like straight shook. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, my man continued to keep his composure. He found a way. Man, Will Smith just slapped the hell out of me. Like he found a
he
funny
did a
way.
wonderful job keeping his composure.
Yeah, to like keep that going. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have went all the way left. You know what I'm saying? And another beautiful thing is, what I'm saying, even though again I do not condone that violence and I hate seeing it, there is something to a man that says, yo, I'm gonna stand up for my wife. It wasn't right. I don't like it, but it says something that man is like, you know what I'm not gonna do, is deal, with this disrespect. And again, y'all, I can't judge because I don't know how I would have acted if I was in the mall or if I was somewhere and someone said a joke that disrespected my wife that made my wife. I can't judge that man. But there does say something to somebody that says, you know what, I'm gonna stand for something, and what I'm not gonna do anymore is deal with some disrespect. So for all of us in the listener world, and for myself and Mike and Crystal, a few things. Let's not keep it bottled up. When we have thoughts, when we have feelings, when we have emotions, find a safe space to be able to talk about it, to be able to air that thing out. Like Mike said, Mike says, I already realized some of my toxic traits. So Mike is like, yo, I know what to work on within me. It's a constant growth. It's a constant elevation. It's always another level he's looking for. The same with me. I should have with y'all. There are times when I might get a little angry, or I might get a little frustrated, or I might get really, really mad. You know what I'm saying? But I play it cool. I actually, right before we had the podcast, I had to make a very hard conversation. And I'm like, I don't even have the energy for this, but I had to release it. Because what I'm not going to do is bottle it up. Now I got resentment in my heart. Now I'm frustrated. Now I'm creating all these different narratives. Say, bro, is this what it is or is this what it isn't? Right, okay, well, that's not cool. Like, let me go ahead and address it in love and move forward. I'm disappointed. I didn't say, bro, I'm pissed off. I'm disappointed, bro. I expect more. Like, sometimes you have to be willing to do that to move forward. So what we can't do in this new season is we can't keep it bottled in because it's only a matter of time before you pop. And so y'all heard what Mike said. Therapy has been a game changer for him. Y'all heard what I said. I had a great session yesterday with Dr. Knight. Now, and I've got others that I can talk to. I'm about to go and actually walk in and talking a little bit. One of my OGs and one of my mentors is just to talk about my thoughts, my feelings, check in with him, see how he doing. Because what I'm not going to do is keep it bottled in because I'm too important. Mike, you too important. Crystal, you too important. Every single one of us listening, that's watching, that's tapped in with us, all of our next levelers out here, you are too important. And we need the best version of you. And your voice, your thoughts, your feelings are valid, right? So you got to find a safe space to be able to share it so that we can get a better control over our emotions and feelings because God put that stuff in us. Now we got to just check our heart and our perspective, and then we need to act accordingly. And I believe when we do that, y'all, that's when we're really experiencing next level living.
Number 2, countdown to the conference 2022.
This year's conference is going to be bonkers.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so Mike, tell me how you felt about last year's conference real quick and live events. Because, everything is virtual the past few years, but we about to be in person. Then I kind of want to hear from Crystal. Then I want to share with y'all a few cool things about it. Mike, talk to me. And we're not going to talk about how you assaulted me. We're not even going to go there, Mikey. Mike, we're going to just talk specifically about
by the way,
the energy of the conference.
You told me I could promote this conference any way that I wanted to. And I want to let you know that I have like 4 to 5 reels on standby. And one of them is actually giving the people what they've been waiting for. And I have it. I'm going to send it to Crystal to make sure it's pitched perfectly. But they need to see just how real this live event can be. You know what I'm saying? Because just like life, Jay bounced back from a lot of situations last year. And I'm talking literally. Let's go. You know, hey, y'all, last year's conference is literally indescribable in words. And I'm going to do my best. But it's one of those things that if you had somebody who you really loved, I'm talking about the person that you love more than anything, and they came up to you and they was just like, listen, from the bottom of my heart, I witnessed something last year that I do not want to witness without you again. That's how I would describe this conference. Y'all, I'm going to get excited in a second and talk about so many dope things that happened. But after the conference was over, I literally couldn't think about anything except going to Kansas City, looking my mother in the face and telling her, I do not want to experience this without you again. Period. I didn't come to her as a man. I came to her as a child, as her son. I came as her son. I pulled that card. I'm like, Mama, erase the beard. Remember when I had hair? Like, I'm coming back to you as a little boy. Like, I love you so much. And we spend so much time giving each other space to grow, to live your life, to live your truth, to find happiness the way you want. But then there's a little bit of time in your life where you have a snippet of how beautiful and amazing life can be. And sometimes we go through the hardship of doing the best thing for ourselves while mourning people that don't have the mindset to experience it with us. And this was one of those rare moments when I had the chance to do both, where I had the chance to actually
share it,
where I had the opportunity to still be in this amazing moment and have her be a part of it too. And I was like, Mama, I need you to be a part of the next one. I'm talking about y'all. My tears was welling up in my eyes as I'm looking at her because I've never asked for nothing from her as a man, as a child. I've never stepped into that place before.
But did you pull that card? Did you pull the card like, Mama, I don't really ask so much, but my request is that you at the next one? Bro,
I pulled that card, bro. And bro, she looked at me and she was looking at me like she was waiting on me to finish, but she was still going to give me a yes. And this is the exact same way that I looked in her eyes because she probably started tearing up and I became blurry to her. So she probably was looking at me and just seeing like a facade of who I was. So I want y'all to understand that here we so next level. We even let y'all see the tearful version of me for the story purpose.
Yeah.
Like y'all seeing me through my mother's eyes in that moment. Like I was blurry, y'all. Like she just couldn't see me clearly. She just heard my heart. She heard my heart. My sound was good, but my vision, she just couldn't see through the tears. So yeah, I'm just telling you, man, this thing, man, is incredible. Let me tell you, bro.
I remember I watched over an hour of testimonials from people that was at the last conference. And this one testimony that we actually used, I just put it on Instagram. Homegirl was like, I didn't know what to expect coming to this conference. She was just like, I regret one thing about the conference. And I was like, and she was like, I regret I didn't pay for my friends to come. And when she said that, Chris, I was like, yo, she was like, legit.
Yeah.
If I would have known this would have been that, I would have paid for all of my friends to come because they have to be here, but I'm paying for them next year. Like, man, that for me, that's everything, bro. To know the strangers, people who've been following the brand, listening to the podcast, you saw an ad, whatever, and they decided to come and they were so blessed. Their deepest regret was that their friend did not come. And she's like, I'm going to pay for my friends next time. That thing hit different, Chris. How was it on your end, Chris? I mean, you was right there in the back doing your thing, making sure the music and everything flows smooth. Talk to me.
Yes. I think from my perspective, I'm a people person when it comes to feeling vibe, feeling energy. Like,
and to be in a space where there's so many like-minded individuals, so many people that can, help you with the next phase, so many people that can offer advice, and then also tell you, where they are, and you can also offer advice to them. I think just being in a community where everybody is kind of like, their guard is down and they want to just see each other win. I think it was something very magical and beautiful about that. And then also it was based on faith, and it just felt like, the higher power was definitely in the I want to call it a sanctuary, but it felt like a sanctuary. But it's a conference center, but it's a healing place where you feel like, whatever was holding me back before, it's not gonna hold me back anymore.
And number 1, why aren't you a CEO yet?
You said, hey, there are some folks that I want to do. There are some things that I would like to, it could be cool. People see that in me, but I would rather be under a covering of somebody where I can learn, I can add value, I can be a part of something bigger than myself. And then you might look up in 4 years or in 2 years or in 6 years and say, I'm ready to branch out. And that, bro, that's the heart. That's the heart God gave me. I promise you, Ed is right over here. Ed, when you told me that one day you want to open up a coffee shop, what was my response real quick? Say it loud.
Oh, you said to research,
and
you'll be ready to invest.
Oh, stop playing with it. And my executive sister had quit her job 7 years ago. I'm on God. This is who I am as a person. Ed was like, man, boss, she been told me she's going to retire from our company. She was like, I think I might want to open up a coffee shop. What was you going to call it? Something with beans, right? Espresso. Get it, Ebony.
I love it.
I like it. I like it.
See, I put this out here to tens of thousands of people. So go ahead and get the copyright for that. I promise you, I will call my attorney if someone in front of our listeners try to take that name real quick. But think about it. My response was like, yo, when that time comes, do the research, find you a mentor in that space, and I'll invest. I promise you, if Ryan says, yo, Jay, I've been saving up, and, in 2023, it's me and Sherry's goal to do real estate. And we're going to set a goal to flip a few property. I promise you, I'm going to be like that, bro. Let me know how I can help jumpstart it. Let me know how I can help support it. When Javen, who traveled with me all over the world as a videographer and captured the Grace Tour, Bermuda, Grand Cayman Islands, India, Australia, South Africa. My man traveled the world with me for years. It got to a point where he was like, yo, Jay, I'm ready to go off and do my own thing. I promise you. I was like, fly, butterfly, fly. That's my heart. You feel me? I want to see people. I want to see people go and excel. How can I be talking about next level if I want to keep people where they are? And so you're right, Mike. You need to a company or organization, like whenever you do, that's going to support that growth that you have. And truth be told, I'm going to share one more thing. CEO talk. I had somebody, I ain't going to call him out, and I rock with him. I thought he was supposed to have a role within our company. I flew him and his wife in town years ago to spend the weekend with me and my wife. And by the end of the weekend, I was just like, yo, you sharp, you a good dude. I see it. I was like, but bro, you're not for us. I want to. I said, but the vision God has given you is bigger, and I will be holding you back. And do you know within 2 weeks, he got like a $50,000 contract working with a school, and hit me and was in tears like, bro, thank you. Because had you took my offer, because he kind of felt a little rejected, but I can see, I know who got that CEO. I know who got that mindset. And I was like, bro, if you us, like, it's not, I'm gonna be holding you back. So yeah, this CEO thing is hard. And for those of y'all that's not CEOs, just be mindful of that leadership and that covering that you're going to be working for, because that can determine how far you go in life. Does that make sense? Like people being mindful of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why you not the question Chris asked is why you not a CEO yet? And hopefully the majority of y'all are saying, you know what, I'm not a CEO yet because I don't want to, or I'm working towards it. And you know what I'm saying, we go from there. Hey, watch this, y'all. Right now, I'm the CEO. I might not be the CEO in the future.
I might look up, I might have a chief operating officer of the Jeremy Anderson Group and a president of operations and a chief operating officer, and I'm just the owner. Don't play with it. I ain't come this far just to come this far. I ain't trying to work forever. I've seen them E-Trade commercials with people on vacations that say, don't get mad, get E-Trade. I like it. They did what they had to do. Who said we had to work 40, 50 years for a company to only get 40% of our salary when we retire? Who said that? That is not God's will for my life. I'm trying to work so hard. I can take my daughter up at school. I can be a part of the PTA if I want to. I can do yoga and Thai at 3:00. I can take my wife to lunch. I can volunteer, then pick my kids up from school. And I got to be in 2-3 meetings a week. Who said I can't live like that? Stop playing. Who said I can't have where I spent 6 months in Cape Town, South Africa, and 6 months in Atlanta? Who says I can't live like that? Who says I can't have a nanny travel around with my family that can tutor my? Like, who said that? I'm saying, and y'all might not want that. Y'all might want to do the work. I work hard to get to a point where I ain't got to work so doggone hard. I can read more books. I can be the best leader. I can be the best author. I can be the best CEO and the best owner. I just want to get to that next level. And so I'm gonna share this with y'all. My last point and close this thing out. You might not want to be a CEO like a chief executive officer, but every single person listening should be a CEO, a chief execution officer. What did I tell you I was going to start calling you, Ebony? Execution Ebony. I told Ebony years ago, a year ago, I said you a CEO, a chief execution officer. So you might not want to be a chief executive officer of a company. That's fine, but you can be the chief execution officer of your life. When you wake up every single day and you say, I will execute the mission I'm supposed to. I will execute the responsibility. I will execute my duties as a father. I will execute my duties as a wife. I will execute my duties as a mother. I will execute my duties whether I'm flipping burgers, whether I'm teaching taekwondo, whether I'm baking, whether I'm making beats, whether I'm a financial analyst, like I'm going to be the chief execution officer of my life. You promote yourself. You know yourself up. Whether you want to start your own business or you help someone else's business grow, what are you bringing to the world? And I believe our world will be in a better place. And we all going to go to the next level when we all can be true CEOs of our life, chief execution officers. And when we do that, y'all, that's when we live in life on the next level, man.
Hey, come on. Hey.
I'm on another level. I'm on another level.